And we are going live. So episode number 3, Monetize Mondays.
Three? We're three?
It's episode 3. Yeah. It's our
Cool.
third one.
Can you
Goes
believe
fast.
it?
I know, it's insane. Monetize Mondays. Let me just turn that off. All right. So today we're talking about edutainment. Let's define what edutainment is first.
Well, let's just define what it's not.
That's a good point. Yes. So we were having a quick conversation before this about when people get online, what happens?
Most times when people get online, they get very, very serious. They start feeling that they've got to show every little bit of information that they know. They get very detailed and they get very monotonous. And then they wonder why people don't watch them, people don't engage with them. And it's because, frankly, it's boring. And, if it's boring, you're not, when you think about if you're marketing online and you bring yourself, by the way, this is not just online. This is if you're live in front of an audience giving a talk. Think about this. When you watch someone, why are you attracted to them? Why are you compelled to stay on for past that first 5 seconds and then the next 5 seconds? Remember, people have very short attention spans, so we've got to continue to earn their viewership and why they're listening. And most people get very serious, especially when they first get on video or online and they're recording videos. And edutainment is not about that. It's about entertaining people while you educate them, keeping them engaged. And we do that through storytelling.
That's it. I mean, what makes a brand more memorable over another? It's the experience that you've had with that brand, with that business. For example, Russell Brunson over there at ClickFunnels. He's a very animated guy when he gets on his live videos and when he does his Funnel Fridays and when he's interacting with his community. It's you want to be hanging out with the guy. I mean, you want to be there hanging with him, and he's just very animated and stuff. Versus somebody who gets in front of a camera and just starts in a monotone voice, starts talking about how they do this and how no, like you got to break that pattern and you got to figure out ways to educate, like you said, and entertain. I see a lot of entrepreneurs out there doing one and not the other, which is just kind of cut themselves off, not giving you're not allowing your marketing to really work on all 12 cylinders when you're doing one to the other. So that entertainment factor, especially nowadays, like you said, the attention span is like 3 seconds. The entertainment factor has to be a big play here. Otherwise, you're just a talking head.
You're a bobblehead.
You're a bobblehead. So,
well, I'll give you an example, Henry. I had years ago. I remember it like it was yesterday. I was all excited because I created my first follow-up sequence. And I scripted it out. I was so excited that I put together all the information and I thought, okay, on the first video, this is what I'm going to share with people. And it's so valuable. If they implement it, it's going to be amazing. And then here's video 2 and video 3 and the emails that went along with it. And then I got to get a good teleprompter. So I found this Prompt Dog teleprompter that I was able to put on to my MacBook. And then I literally, with Jen was there making him go faster and slower. And I'm sitting here reading and I had the camera right above and the lighting was perfect and I was on. And then I got so excited. I had a friend of mine who is a 7-figure keynote speaker, very well known out there. And I had him watch it. And he just said, Dave. And I said, yes. He says, I've seen you speak live. And I said, yes. And he said, you weren't speaking live. You were reading. I'm like, how'd you know? He's like, Dave, it's obvious. You were reading.
Yeah.
He says, why are you doing that? You know this information. Speak from your heart. And when you speak from your heart, people are going to connect with you. and you're going to be more entertaining. You're going to be more engaging. And that was a big wake up call for me. Now, I mean, you're here at my house. You and I we're doing it right now. I mean, as long as you know what you're talking about and it's here in your head, just let it rip. Just go. Be yourself. Tell stories. People are attracted to the stories. As Russell talks about, it's an attractive character that you build, but by being who you are.
Yeah. Yeah. And the way that person connects with that story, they're going to own that. And they're going to be much more prompt to take action on your product or service when it was their idea, right? Versus you trying to persuade or you trying to convince, right? That's not the business that we're in. We want them to be like, yes, this is for me. Or I resonate with that story a lot. I can tell you, 90% of the clients that we have together and the clients that I have on my own, when they come on board, the first thing they say to me is, one, I feel like I've known you already. And two, they always point out a story that I've told in the past that they resonated with. When you had that conversation on Facebook Live the other day about spending all my time on the wrong things, that really resonated with me. And that's what got me on the phone with you today. Like, that is the funny, you never know what they're going to pull out of that story, but you got to get out there and start to tell more and make it real, like you said, and make it relevant.
It's interesting, Henry. I got a call this morning. Literally, the guy found me on Google, and it was for business nitrogen, and it was SEO. And I said, well, how did you find me? He says, well, I did this search on Google, and I saw your videos. And then from your videos, I found your website. And I said, well, which website did you watch? He said, well, this weekend I watched all of them. And I watched every video that you put out there. And so it was so telling that people are checking us out. And it's it's the stories that you tell that people remember, and it's the stories that you tell. And I hear you all the time when we're on with a client talking about and pulling it out of them, their story. Or when we do a monetization session with someone, we spend sometimes half an hour plus on why did they start the business, what was the reason. What got them there? What's their compelling story? What's their why? Tell us a story of how you've transformed someone's life. And people don't realize it. The reason that we're pulling all of this out of someone is we're creating that compelling story that they can edutain, because it's not just educating someone, because you want the people out of their analytical mind, but it's the edutainment process that people connect with you.
I couldn't agree more. So with all that said, we need to just focus in as entrepreneurs that are trying to get seen, be heard in 2017, is that experience that you want those visitors to feel, your target audience to feel. I mean, just put yourself in the shoes of like, how do you want, of course, like, let me get my thoughts straight here, because I'm trying to do a bunch of things at the same time here in my head. But point is, how would you feel when you interact with a brand? Do you want that brand to connect with you just drabby? Or do you want that brand to be excited about interacting with you and deliver that experience that just gets you fired up? Like, think about why we've bought certain things over other businesses. It's all about that experience. So making sure that we're educating and entertaining, not just doing one or the other, because if you're just entertaining, you're not making any money. And if you're educating, you may be coming at them in a kind of a boring way.
Yeah, so it's an effective mix.
Yeah, for sure.
And by the way, you do this very, very well. And the interesting thing, Henry, and most people say, well, I watch you, Henry, and I can't be you. Or I've seen people say, well, I see you on stage, Dave, and I can't be you. I'll tell you specifically for me. I remember like it was yesterday. In fact, I still have it on VHS tape. The first time I even did a mock when I was in a sales training when I was 22 years old and had to get up in front of a room and give my first sales meeting, mock meeting. I literally read from 4x6 note cards. I didn't look up. Then when I did it live for the first time in front of a client when I was 22, I did the same thing. It's horrifying when you think about it. I spent a lot of time learning, getting comfortable. You and you're very comfortable on video. People would say, Henry, you're a natural at this. I know for a fact. I want to hear you say it. Were you as comfortable in education and entertaining when you on Facebook Live? Have you always, from the first time you did it, just been a natural at it?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And I was mortified the first Facebook Live. I was mortified. And now I can get on there and I feel like I'm talking to all of my friends right here in my office.
You actually just said something that is so key. And this is why most people freeze and most people don't even realize it. You said something so powerful. You feel like you're speaking with your friends. And you are. Okay, that's how you come across. You're speaking to the people that you either know or want to know, those you like or want to like, because there's no one that I know that you don't, that's not a friend, because that's your personality. And it's the people that, you're building that trust value. And it's through being authentic. It's through communication. It's through, that edutainment process that you do it very, very well. And I know it's something that you do that's called drive time. You do it every single day, multiple times a day. In fact, I know for a fact, I know Henry Kaminski very well. When we leave here today, you're going to be talking about edutainment in other groups, aren't you?
That's absolutely right. Absolutely right.
So you got a topic that you're going to talk about today, and you're going to authentically connect with people in different groups.
That's right. That's right. So the question that we want to ask our audience today is...
You're asking me? Yeah. The question is, how can you become more of an edutainer versus just giving the information out there? What I suggest is think of a story every single time that you can tell someone. So why stories? Because people are attracted to stories. People remember stories. They don't remember exactly what you say. If you spit a whole bunch of facts at people, most people are not going to remember them. One, they're not going to stay long enough. So how can you attract them right up front with a story? Let me tell you what I was thinking about today. Hey, I had a dream last night. Hey, I spoke with a client this morning. And all of a sudden, because that's a real story, you can just go off on that and then tie it back in to the information that you want them to learn or you want them to take away from it. And when you do that, you can change everything about your edutainment process. By the way, Corey's excellent at that too. I watch Corey engages me through her stories when we watch her on Facebook Live. Dom does a great job with. There's so many people that we've just watched that every time they do it, it's like they're better and better and better and more engaging.
That's it. That's it. So how can you be more edutaining to your audience? That is the question of the day. And we will leave that and sign off on another episode of Monetize Mondays with David Asarno, Henry Kaminski, and we will catch you next Monday. Take care, guys.
Everyone. Have a great week.